Hello again. The US government's approved the possible $15 billion sale of its THAAD anti-missile defense system to Saudi Arabia. The deal could go ahead in just 30 days' time unless it's rejected by the US Congress. The delivery is expected to include launchers, missiles, mobile control stations and radars. Washington says it will help support Riyadh in the face of regional threats. Now, this sale was announced just a day after Saudi Arabia reportedly decided to purchase a Russian S-400 air defense system. Now, that deal was allegedly discussed during the Saudi king's first official visit to Moscow a few days ago, where he met President Putin. However, any agreement on that has yet to be officially confirmed. But bilateral relations between the two states could be about to improve on the back of other agreements. $3 billion worth of arms deals were signed, and future investments in technologies also agreed. We asked former Pentagon official Michael Malouf what's behind the timing of the Saudi deals with both Moscow and Washington.
It's an interesting development that it's all happening at once, because I think it's politically meant to show that the United States backs the Saudi and the GCC, the Gulf cooperating countries, in terms of their defense. And I would suspect that this is all part of the new policy again by the Trump administration to come forward in supporting both the Saudi and the Gulf states, as opposed to trying to have a rapprochement with the Iranians.
7 seats are up for grabs during next month's congressional and state elections in the U.S., most of which were vacated by former members of the Trump administration, giving Democrats a chance to win back a majority in the House of Representatives. Caleb Morpin takes a look at the possible new faces.
It's primary season, and the old guard of the Republican Party is out in full force. But the question is, how long will establishment Republican faces like these be around? Neoconservative, hawkish, close to big business. That's how people used to know the Republican Party.
Economic freedom, individual responsibility, respect for free trade. Those are the principles that made us who we are.
Iran's hegemonic ambitions present a threat to our homeland.
The Libyans right now are very grateful to us, but this is just the beginning. We know how hard democracy is, and they're going to need a lot of assistance.
Protectionism, isolationism are really not conservative values.
Some of them have already been lost, and to quite a controversial anti-establishment candidate who seemed an unlikely winner even to his fellow party members.
I fought in the courts against liberal judges that have usurped their authority under that Constitution. And I'll fight for you at the United States Senate. I'll fight for the people of this state and of this nation who want to bring our country back to its greatness. And we can, and we will. Let's go again and make America great.
The victory is one of the first signs of a new cast of characters with a very different message, moving up in the ranks of the Republican Party.
I believe in the Second Amendment.
Meet the firebrand frontrunner for Tennessee. She's an outspoken advocate of the wall on the border with Mexico, and she carries a gun in her handbag.
I'm a hardcore, card-carrying Tennessee conservative. I'm politically incorrect and proud of it.
There's trouble for establishment Republicans in Arizona, where the senator is accused of being a weak globalist who has abandoned his conservative values.
He is a self-professed globalist. He much prefers the global community to putting America first, and that is unacceptable in Arizona, and it's unacceptable in this country.
We know the America First battle cry from the president, of course, but it's not just about him.
Nobody voted for Donald Trump.
Okay.
We voted for Donald Trump's agenda.
They voted for President Trump as President Trump because of his personality, but also because of his personality. But go ahead.
Personality is not enough, right?
Okay.
Right? You're not going to base your future on a personality. You're going to base it upon what he says he's going to do for you.
Only 39% of Republicans now say they approve of the job being done by the party in Congress, a huge drop from 77% in January. Their grassroots base seems to have a very different perspective than those running the party. And if things shift, this wouldn't be the first time the Republicans have had a complete makeover. Let's not forget they began as the party of Abraham Lincoln and liberal reformers who were opposed to slavery. As 2018 approaches, it looks like they may now be moving away from the politics of Reagan and Bush and towards something completely different. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.
Well, the FBI has been pretty busy of late, arranging raids on animal shelters in search of 2 piglets that were stolen by animal rights activists. And those responsible are likely to face some serious charges as well under the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act. It deems that cases where a person's caused damage to property belonging to farms or so-called animal enterprises as domestic terrorism. Now, that's in turn led to questions about how terrorism is defined by law, considering some atrocities don't fall into the same bracket. We spoke to an animal rights advocate who says that most senior officials would be appalled by the FBI's recent conduct.
The Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act was adopted at the behest of not just the meat industry, but the fur industry, the milk industry, the animal research industry, and other industries that are extremely cruel in their use and abuse of animals. It's absolutely true that most senior counterterrorism officials would be appalled by by this recent conduct of the FBI. And to pursue these animal activists, instead of the people who are actually abusing the animals, is actually a massive waste of resources.
As global powers fend off chaos and a number of crises, including nuclear threat from North Korea and the war in Syria, the White House says there's one man holding it all together for world peace.
I think that the president is the one that's keeping the world from chaos.
Keeping the world from chaos.
Fire and fury.
Totally destroy North Korea.
It will be devastating, I can tell you that. Devastating.
A targeted military strike.
We are sending an armada.
He has an incredible team around him that's helping him lead that effort.
It has never moved the U.S. to care about what other countries say.
North Korea will be destroyed, and we all know that.
We have many options to do so.
He's had tremendous accomplishments on the international stage.
The Iran deal was one of the worst and most one-sided transactions the United States has ever entered into.
We're going to continue doing that. We're going to continue doing that as a team with the president leading that effort.
These problems will be solved. I'm a problem solver.
Well, there we are. I'm sure we can all sleep soundly now. Right, that's the news from here at RT in Moscow. Join me again in half an hour. I'll update you then.